Welcome back to Smart Social Secrets Tips. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. I am going to be talking today about strategy and social media trends over the next year. Yesterday, I had the great honor to be able to speak with a bunch of really amazing communicators from the PRSA Tampa area. And one of the things they asked me is what the 5 trends were going to be for 2023. And I kind of was going to avoid the trend setting articles because I know a lot of them are out there right now, but I think these 5 things are super important. And I've already covered one in detail on the channel. So I definitely want to make sure you guys hear what I think is going to kind of completely change the way that we do everything on social media, especially as communicators, as social media and public relations and marketing professionals. So I'm going to jump right in. Let me share my screen with you real quick. And I'm going to just tell you what these 5 things are. So we're going to go through each one of these. I'm going to cover each one kind of on the top and give you the major trend on each 5. And then I'm going to be going into detail on each one of these over the next few weeks. So I did a couple of weeks ago, and I put the links to those sessions above. So if you're interested in the AI side of things, definitely take a look at that. And I'm going to be doing more of those as well. But these 5 things are going to change the way that we do business as communicators. Oh, hey, Nick. Good to see you. Glad you're here. So let me know if you're here, like Nick did. I think people are starting to gather a little bit. So just let me know if you're here. But anyway, these are the 5 things that I think are going to be really important over the next year. Number one is what I'm calling the AI takeover. I mean, you can't really turn on the internet today and not see a story about how artificial intelligence is being used in different ways. Of course, yes, AI is definitely a hot one for sure right now, and everybody's talking about it, but nobody's really 100% talking about how that's going to work for all the different areas. And so I think as a communicator, we need to realize that we can't hide from this particular topic. We can't just wish that it would be gone because it won't. And I'm going to go through each one of these. So the second one is the platform fragmentation and deglobalization. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Somebody asked me on Twitter yesterday, what do you mean by fragmentation? And I'm going to show you some interesting stats and some interesting things to show you how things are just getting more diffused. And, people are starting up all kinds of different social networks that are very niche or niche, if you like to say it that way, niche to what they do. The third one is the rise of short form video. I think everybody knows that short form video is on the rise, but I want to show you some really kind of interesting things that you need to know. The fourth thing is virtual shopping. So this is going to be huge, this virtual shopping side of things, and you're going to be shocked at how far along it actually is. And number 5 is immersive media. So a lot of people have been calling this the metaverse. I am going to be calling it immersive media because I think the metaverse, unfortunately, has been taken over by Facebook, and that particular metaverse project right now is not exactly working in their favor. So it's not really that. I think what we're talking about here is AR and VR, which is augmented reality and virtual reality. And you're wondering, like, maybe, I'm a communicator. I don't do all this tech stuff. Right. Well, that is exactly why I'm here today to talk to you about this, because I believe that as communicators, we're going to have to be much more versed in what's going on with this. And your knowledge is going to help your clients, your customers, your universe, wherever you live on the communication scale, to navigate these changes. This is a sea change that's going on right now. It's kind of as big as when the internet started. All these things are starting to come together, and people have been talking about them for years. But I do believe that this is the year that a lot of this stuff starts to coalesce. And I want you to be ready. And that is why I'm here. Payments. Yes, that's what I'm talking about on shopping, Nick. Is like actually buying. I don't know if you're talking about this, but you can ask a little bit more. But payments as far as what? So yeah, just be a little more clear about what you're asking there. But I'm just saying, being able to never leave the social media platform to pay for something, and I think people are going to be doing that, and I think it's just going to be a thing because all of the social media platforms want you to stay on platform. Even Twitter is about to change its word count to 4,000 characters. That's happening in the next 2 weeks, by the way. Hot off the presses. Yeah, that was actually put out there. Oh, like banking. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to go into that because I am no expert at banking. But yes, I mean, I do believe that AI is everywhere. It's going to be baked into every single thing. And it's already, in many ways, baked into things that we don't even know it's working in the background for. But I just think things are more overtly happening where people are afraid for their jobs and they're afraid for that kind of side of things. So that's what I'm talking about. So yes, banking. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that at some point. All right, so I'm going to just jump right in here and open this up for you because I want to show you what I'm talking about as far as the AI addressable market. Okay, so AI is coming. I know you know that, but here we go. We have revenue from artificial intelligence software. So one of the biggest things that I think is happening, and I've seen it already, you can open up Canva right now and you can give Canva a prompt and it will draw pictures for you. I have a thumbnail a few episodes back that I used Canva to create that crazy face with the crazy blue eyes. So if you go back in this channel or on YouTube, wherever you're at, you'll see um, that particular one. So you can actually create AI content very quickly and easily. And of course, everybody's talking about the Chat GTP or GPT engine where you can create words with prompts, like entire papers or copy and that kind of thing. And so this is just kind of new. All of my software platforms, I'm going to say all of them, but many of them, like for example, this afternoon, there's actually a live stream with Searchy, which is one of the platforms I use extensively for my videos to put together websites and packaging my videos and things like that. And they are adding AI into their stuff. So they can take one look at my video and create an entire summary of the video, add chapters, do a bunch of stuff that is really incredible and will save us so much time. And so I do feel like that, as communicators, that might be something that one of you may have done. Somebody might have hired you to watch a video and completely rewrite it, and that's definitely something that I think, there's a fear like, will I lose that income? And the truth is that you could, I guess, but in the end of the day, you're going to have to bring the human storytelling aspects to this, because I'm going to tell you one of the things about the AI writing, it does not tell great stories. It kind of strips everything out and just gives you the facts, ma'am. That may not be the case forever, but I do believe right now that's where we're at. So the revenue from artificial intelligence is going to skyrocket. You can see that here. This goes, and I know these are very small, so I'm going to make it bigger so you can see it a little bit better, because I think this is really important for you to see, is that do you see how this trend line is happening from basically nothing in 2018 to a multi hundred, three-figure billion-dollar business. This is where we're at right now, right? This is 2023. We're going to be jumping a pretty good clip from there, but we're going to completely double in 2 years. So I'm just saying we need to be on top of this. This is a trend that somebody said to me the other day, there's money in this trend. And there is. If you can spot these trends and create ways to help people get through these trends, this is going to be amazing. So anyway, that's number one. And so I'm not going to go too much deeper than that because I do have 5 to cover. But the number 2 is the platform fragmentation. Oh, yeah, before I move on, Nick, I like what you said. I'm finding Chat GPT to be helpful in spurring ideas, but not right for complete copy and paste. Yes. And I am going to say that what I'm going to be talking about with communicators is how do we learn how to put prompts into Chat GPT or other programs. By the way, it's not just that particular one. I have like, I think 6 or 7 um, programs that I'm testing right now that I got through AppSumo, like on a one-time price, just to try to start to do that. What I'm saying is that this kind of stuff is going to be baked into all software. And if it's not in your software, you need to think about how to get it there. Okay, if you have software. The other thing I wanted to talk about was just fragmentation. And what I'm talking about here is that um, we've had this situation where there's like super players on the social media platform front, right? And those super players are like, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and those kinds of things. And more and more TikTok these days. But these are platforms with at least 100 million active users. I actually sorted them by country just so we could see them. Most of my listeners are from the US, although, Nick's here and he's not in the US at the moment. But you can see right now that this list has become insanely long. And by the way, a lot of stuff isn't even here because it hasn't um, touched over 100 million active users. And so we are going to be continuing to have all these social media platforms just launching. And I even pulled up this little top 20 new social media networks, although I don't think these are the only ones. And they just go on and on and on. And these guys are just, you can see there's trend lines. They go up, they go down. They usually have a popular moment and then they kind of fade a little bit. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. This is kind of interesting. It's tagged. They're very niche markets. Okay. So some are for like, I'll just grab one here, behind the scenes mining data for Facebook. Ooh, yeah. So this is a WhatsApp employees. Hello App is a social network for people you actually have a real relationship with. Okay. While they don't necessarily limit to X number of contacts, this isn't the app for people looking to build a following. So this is just like a app just to like get on with your friends and grow that. I think there's another one that's not on here called Be Real that I think has also had a huge like sort of explosion, so much so that most of the networks have tried to copy their functionality. So yeah, I mean, you're going to see this just, and there's things like Truth Social. I know this, I'm not, that's not something I like a lot, but Truth Social is another one that, these are very niche like audiences, people that are there to talk about politics and they're in a specific way, all the way to the right or all the way to the left. There's Mastodon, which is really much a decentralized type of thing. Everybody's calling it a replacement for Twitter, but it never will be because of the way that it's structured. So there's just all of these networks that are popping up everywhere, and people are saying, which one should I join? Which one should I be on? And so that I think is just going to continue. And there's also what I'm going to call deglobalization, which I'm a little worried about, which is really about each country trying to build resources within their own borders. And it just has to do with the geopolitical situation. When we had the pandemic and we had supply chain issues, and now there's some, wars and things like that, Ukraine and all those kinds of businesses with Russia. Those things cause people to say, wow, we need to have that capability inside of our shores. And so they'll start building it. So things like TikTok, for example, there's a fear that that's going to be banned in the US. I don't think it will be, but on the other hand, all the government offices are banning it, not using it. And that's partly because of data security for sure. But the other part is just that idea that, are you going to let the most popular social media platform be a Chinese run one? So I just think that there's a lot of like pressures to build different kinds of platforms and places. Now that's going to unfortunately make us less connected as a world. So that's what I mean by deglobalization. I just feel that that's going to be a trend, and people that can figure out how to bridge those gaps, I think those people are going to be really, really successful. How do we bridge all these gaps? I think that's an interesting place to look, especially on the communication side, because as people get more and more entrenched in their own little communities, their communications become very, let's just say one color, vanilla, chocolate, whatever it is you decide. And that, you can join the strawberry network, and then all you talk about is strawberries. One of the journalists I talked to said that they had joined a Mastodon server, which is really mostly journalists. So that's the funny thing about this Mastodon thing that they talk about. Each server has a different structure, and people are running it differently. And so this guy was talking about Mastodon and how he went over there and it was fun to talk to his peers, but after a while he got bored because he's there to get stories, right? And so Twitter is what he went to Twitter to get stories. So there's just a lot of things around that, political things, and I'm not trying to get into that, but as a communicator, we have to create those spaces to be able to connect with people. Okay, cool. So that's the fragmentation. The third thing that really I wanted to talk about is rather the rise of short form video. I know you already know this. I know most of you know that short form video is hot. It absolutely is. I'm just going to show you some short form video stats and things so that I think you would probably enjoy seeing. So first of all is this graph, and this is some really great stuff from Grin. I'll actually throw the link to this in the chat because I think it's a useful article and has lots of really great stats. So I don't know if you'll all get it on all the different platforms. Some of them block me whenever I'm doing that. It looks like it went out on Facebook and on YouTube, but not probably on LinkedIn. But anyway, so this is if you go to grin.com and just if you just Google short form video ideas for social media, you'll find this and go to this one. You'll see that right here is where the drop off in viewership happens. So you're going to see a very steep drop off after percentage of length of video. So I'm already losing all of you now, probably because of the length of the video. And so, it just kind of like degrades over time and then kind of peters out at the end. And so that is why short form video has gotten much more popular because they're like, we can keep their attention. We can keep the attention really high for longer. And so each of the platforms have started to offer this. So they asked, where do US consumers prefer to watch social video? This was in 21, so this could have changed slightly, but even in 21, it was almost 50% TikTok. I bet you it's even gone higher than that. Shorts may have gained some ground. I don't know. But do you see that TikTok is the number one place for people to watch short form video? Well, that's because it is a short form video platform. That's what it caters to. It's adding some new features that's kind of starting to worry me a little bit. So TikTok's trying to add the features in. You can now do stories and you can do live streams, of course, and a few other things that I'm not sure are going to play super well on TikTok, but that's just me. And then YouTube Shorts, that was an answer to TikTok, right? They added those in order to do that, as did Instagram Reels. But I think that it's really interesting to see that YouTube Shorts, which just added this last year, they've jumped way ahead. And they've also started to add, or going to start to add, monetization for creators for YouTube Shorts. And that's huge because that means that creators are going to spend the time to make those shorts if they can be monetized, because that's a huge thing on YouTube is monetization for creators, because the people that create the content on that platform, it's a lot of work, right? So they want to get paid for it, and they get paid through the ad revenue. So the short form video trends to consider: demonstration videos, company culture videos, tutorial videos. We'll go deeper into this whenever I do a thing on short form video. I might get an expert in here with me on some of these topics to talk through this in more depth and how you can get this done. But yeah, I think this is a really, really huge trend. And I know you may not like it, but I think we need to get better at it. I need to get better at it too. So I'm feeling you. So next thing I'm going to talk to you about is virtual trend. I'm going to talk about is virtual social shopping, and that is going to be what is it's huge for the networks and for the platforms, networks, whatever you want to call them, like Facebook, Instagram, those kinds of networks, LinkedIn, because they can take a cut of revenue. They can keep people on their website and advertise to them more. There's so much they can do if they keep them on. So there's a huge push towards shoppable videos. And guess who was leading the path on this? Snapchat. And I think it's crazy because a lot of us don't realize that Snapchat is super relevant still. I hardly hear anybody talking about Snapchat. Maybe I need to do a little bit more on Snapchat because I think it's a really powerful thing. So this is social shopping. This just shows you what kind of industry we're talking about. Here we are at the beginning of it. We are about to see the biggest swing up in social shopping that in the history of social media, right? And this means not in many cases leaving the platform. In fact, most cases. So right now, the way it works on these networks is you advertise, people click on it, they go to your landing page, and on your landing page, they buy something, right? And shoppable, sites are going to be there. And so there's ways to connect it all together. And boy, whoever's doing this, and I actually have some friends that I'm going to be actually doing a social media breakfast on this soon. I have a guest and everything picked out, but this is huge. So as communicators, as marketers, obviously this is going to be a huge thing in our toolkit. So we're going to need to understand it. I thought I may have had, let me see. This may have shown where this has a bunch of stuff in it. But Snapchat, I guess, is the one I really wanted you to see. There's a bunch of others too, but Snapchat is the one I really wanted you to understand that you can do. And I'm going to talk about a little bit more about Snapchat in a minute anyway. So that'll be good. Um, the fifth one and final trend that I want you to be paying attention to this year is immersive media. Immersive media, that is putting a layer on top of the real world. So when we talk about the metaverse, often people think of, going into this strange avatar place with different, scenery and stuff, and you're chatting around with people. And I love doing that, by the way. I have a group that I do that with on a monthly basis, and it's super fun and it's awesome. But it is probably not going to catch on to the mainstream masses. However, what will catch on to the mainstream masses is an overlay of immersive technology that enhances the world that is around you. And again, Snapchat is a huge player here. And I guess I figured this out, I don't know, last year sometime. It was terrible. I mean, I feel like I was behind or something, but I don't think I was, because I'm not on Snapchat as much anymore. And I went in and I realized you could go into these little immersive environments, which were like little shops, and shop for actual products and buy them right in those little shops. Now, this was all that kind of in world looking stuff. You were buying stuff inside of that world. Well, I mean, I'd seen my kids do their Roblox stuff, you know, they were creates and Roblox it's that it could be done, and it was being done with the younger generation. But I didn't realize like how like applicable that would be to us. And just think about that, these kids that are like 14, 15, 16 years old, within 5 years they're going to be adults, and guess what, they're going to be super comfortable with shopping online. My kids are super comfortable with shopping online. They definitely do. That's going back to shoppable. So that AR thing that lays it over, where you're going to be able to do that online, again, Google Lens is a really good example of that. Oh gosh, which is right here on my phone. I can point my phone, as you can too, at anything. Let's see, this Yeti Blue mic right here that I've got. And I can click on the little, and it gives me a little thing. And then all I do is scan it. Let me do that. And then it's going to go look for the results for me and give me a place where I can buy this mic. I mean, this was not something that was in our environment before. This is an example of this kind of overlay technology that I think is going to revolutionize everything, everything. And so, as communicators, how do we make it easier for our audiences to communicate with us using these overlays, using these things in the world that are already being created? So, how will that affect brands? Well, I do think that it's going to be expected. So I actually pulled this. So let me pull up this thing. I liked this list that was put together by in this Forbes article, and I just liked what they said. So talking about virtual stores on social media, AR and live events, AR during live events. I know I have some really good friends who do this for a living. Like they actually project things into spaces. So like you're in the space. I've been on Times Square. If you've been on Times Square lately, you've seen these things that are crawling around and coming down the walls, and it's just really, really, really expensive right now. But I don't think it's going to be that expensive forever. I think a lot of this stuff is going to be, that brands are going to use it just like they have like a billboard on the side of the road, right? AR videos, that's brands where they can engage your audience. And I've heard about shoppable videos. Those don't really exist on the platforms yet. You have to kind of put it on your own platform and have people come. But I do believe about YouTube to have the shop, whatever you Amazon already does, right? So, oops, I think I just went dark for a minute. Ooh, hopefully you haven't lost me. There, I'm back. So, Amazon is also like that. You have the ability to buy things right online. And right now they have influencers on Amazon that can live stream and put videos in there. And those videos are shoppable underneath their video. Like if I was talking about this Blue Yeti mic, oh, sorry. I killed the camera by doing that. If I'm talking about this Blue Yeti mic, then I could talk about it on my Amazon channel and have the actual thing to shop for it right underneath. And you can buy it from me right there and then, and I get a little cut of it. it's all affiliate marketing, right? So, oh, good. I'm glad there was no break in the stream for you. It broke for me. Weird, right? On my end, it broke. Anyway, so brand awareness is another one that they have on here that I think is really important, meaning experiences for your audience. So all of these things are going to kind of combine to become like what I call like just like a immersive environment. Like you have your computer, you have your devices, and the internet of things is something it's been called. You have your watch, which I don't have my oh I forgot to put my watch on this morning. um I mean, if you don't have your watch on and you take steps, do they really count? That's my question. So anyway, you have your watches, but you're going to have things in your environment that are going to help you to interact with things. We talk to Google Home and ask it questions. And we do, by the way, very naturally, like we'll be at dinner saying, well, what about that? What do you think about that? And then we'll ask Google Home the question while we're sitting there at dinner, and it enhances our conversation. So how are we going to enhance those things? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. That's a really good point, Nick. Like the try it on thing, I did it with my glasses. You go and you put a picture of your face in there, and they'll put the glasses on you. There are apps where you can put furniture in your house. You can put it, the actual furniture, and it kind of triangulates how big your house is, and it goes in your house. Google Lens did that for a while too. I don't know if you can still do that, but we used to be able to like put a dinosaur in our house or something like that, and through the phone. Pokemon Go was a huge example of this, and that was super early, right? That was 2017, 2018, I think. Maybe even earlier. I don't remember. Time goes by fast, but it has existed. I just think it's getting more mature to the point where people understand it, they're going to be using it, and brands are going to be using it. So those are kind of where I'm going with that. And I think, when you think about metaverse, people are like, well, NFTs and this and that. No, that is not what we're talking about. Immersive environments, whether it is where you go into a world and interact, or where the world comes into your world and you can interact with that. And that is going to happen. And eventually you're not going to need the clunky glasses or the Oculus or whatever. You don't really need those. And that's really the deal. Crypto. Yeah. Crypto. I've got a bridge in Brooklyn I want to sell you. Um, and I know crypto will have its day. It will. I mean, it's coming back too. One of the things I found when I was doing my research for this, just so that you know, I think this is interesting, is that this is happening this year in Los Angeles, August um, 6 through 10, and they are calling it the Immersive Pavilion. I know you can't read that, but this Immersive Pavilion, they were looking for entries for it. But what they do at this thing is they have um, demonstrations of this type of technology, right? They have demonstrations of all of these different technologies and what they do, and this has been going on. This thing has been around for a while, but I find it really interesting that they have this pavilion where they gather outstanding content in virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and beyond. This year's in-person event is a place for contributors and participants to engage in critical discourse on the latest interactive breakthroughs and support for hybrid environments. So I always like to look and see what the industry is doing around this, like the people who actually live this day to day, because they're ahead of us. They're ahead of us. They're 100% ahead of us. And so I want to know. And so I thought this SIGGRAPH 2023 was super interesting. I'm like, okay, so if you want to do that, oh yeah, and AR and VR is big in Asia, and that's the other thing. I mean, we're in America, or I'm in America. Nick is over in Asia, which is awesome because he can give us that POV. But in the end of the day, we are a little behind when it comes to this stuff. So think about it. We were built on a fiber network or whatever you want to call it. And a lot of the Asian nations were built on a cellular network. And that just puts them that much further ahead in infrastructure for that reason, because their infrastructure is just being built on today's infrastructure versus 20 years ago. And so, yeah, I do believe that's the deal. So let me just pull up one more time our 5 trends, our 5 mega trends, I guess you could call them. And I want you to see these one more time, because I will be going over these in future episodes either at Social Media Breakfast or whatever. And then I'm planning to pull these mega trends together and package them up so you guys can look at them and go in depth if you want to. But in the end of the day, what we have is what I call the AI takeover, meaning all software is going to have some kind of AI in it, whether you know it or not. And some of it you will know it. And yes, it's going to cause our jobs to shift as communicators. So we need to know more about it. I've already started working on it. I'm going to be putting together a lot more information around this in the next year. If you are interested in this from the communications point of view, I think next Friday it might be a good one for you too. I'm with Firecat Studios. I think I've already posted about it, but if not, just look on any of my social networks and you'll see that I'm going to be speaking about this topic then. And then the second one is really about platform fragmentation and deglobalization. How do you choose social media platforms and how do you know where your audience is? I think that's the most important part about this is how do you find your audience and engage with them? And PS, I'm going to tell you the killer app for this is community. So the killer app is creating a community that it doesn't really matter. So you know where your people are so you can engage with them appropriately. Number 3 is the rise of short form video. We have to get good at it. We have to get great at it. Number 4 is social shopping. And by the way, I know you're doing that. By the way, too, Nick, on the short form video. I'm excited with what you're doing with that. Social shopping is going to be huge. Like, how are we going to sell our products? How do we make it like low friction for people to buy our products? How can we work? Do we need to set up a Shopify shop and learn how to use this? Create merch for our communities or whatever. So, I mean, there's some things I'm going to be doing around this as well. And then immersive media, AR and VR. I have Kathy Hackle, who I love so much, somebody for you to follow if you don't. But Kathy is great at this, and she's been doing it for a long time, and now she's become a superstar with this. But yeah, she used to be in Houston, so I did know her at that time, and now she's become like super whatever. So I'm going to put her information in the chat here so that you guys can definitely check out Kathy because she's just for AR VR. Um, she's amazing. So there she is. So Kathy Hackle is somebody that I would love to have her on the show some point, but maybe that's down the line. So she does a lot of keynotes and stuff. So we'll see. And she's written some great books. Anyway, so immersive media is huge. I think it's going to be the future of communications and what we have to put into our communications strategies. So yeah, I'm not going to say that all these things are, mature this year, but if you spent just time on each one of these little trends and learn something about them, you're going to be so much further ahead than anyone else. So I would just recommend that you look for people to follow in each of these areas that are going to be experts at this and learn from them. And that's what I'm doing. So if you want to join along with me as I show you all these, that would be great. I would love it. Anyway, so thanks, Nick, for coming live. I appreciate it. And you were my brave one that was talking. Anyway, we'll talk to you soon. And let me know if you guys have any questions in the chat, even if you're watching this in replay, which you probably are. And I would love to hear from you and hear what you think the trends are. Certainly, I would love to hear that from everyone here. So take care. Have a wonderful day. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.